We start with CBS Sports, where, again, unfinished business throughout this offseason. And shockingly, we're talking about the Deshaun Watson situation here. As it says in here, the ruling from disciplinary officer Sue L. Robinson, retired district court judge, could come at any time, but it's expected before the opening of training camp there on the 27th. And it seems like now that you have those briefs filed, now it's up to Robinson to sort through those briefings and to go through and make her verdict, whether or not a decision could come down for a punishment for Deshaun Watson, and how much could that be if she does think that he does get that suspension. But that doesn't stop Deshaun Watson from coming back into Cleveland as well, as it seems that Deshaun Watson taking in the sights of downtown Cleveland as well. Yesterday, we saw him posting in Berea. Last night, we got a chance to go ahead and see that Deshaun Watson was at the Cleveland Guardians game, taking in the action. Guardians, unfortunately, not able to get the win there, but Deshaun Watson able to take in the sights and be able to check out downtown Cleveland as well. But with Deshaun Watson getting ready for training camp, seems like he's ready to go. In order to talk about that, let's bring in Quincy Carrier, YouTube personality. Always love talking with Quincy. And Quincy, when it comes to Deshaun Watson, seems like he's ready to go. Obviously you have that suspension looming, but it seems like he's ready to go when it comes to training camp opening up here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, like the dissonance thing with Deshaun Watson is like there's what you know about him, well, allegedly about him based on this whole situation he's dealing with. And then there's also what he's always done throughout his career, which has been like the ultimate pro. So it's like an interesting contrast here because, Deshaun's always going to be early. Deshaun's going to be one of the first people to show up. Deshaun's going to be a presence in the city that he plays in, and he's going to try to support all the local stuff that he does because he's really good at that kind of stuff, right? The quote unquote adult in the room stuff he does very well. So seems like he's preparing as if he's going to have a full training camp. I have no idea what the suspension is going to be. I think nobody knows other than maybe Sue Robinson and maybe Roger Goodell have some idea. But other than that, I don't know who actually knows at this point. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this looms over camp because I don't think as the days go on, I don't think it's likely that we get a ruling before training camp. I think we're probably going to have this drag on at least until before the first preseason game, if not even longer than that, because it just seems like this has at every step of the way has taken much longer than everybody's expected. So it would be kind of weird for this to be the thing that gets out on time when it doesn't look like it's on track.
Well, and with that being said, too, this is also the first case where we've seen Sue Robinson and having this disciplinary officer kind of oversee this entire process. So, it's even more important, not just because of the magnitude of this kind of an implication and this kind of a ruling, but also because this is the first one that we've seen from Judge Sue Robinson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a new process. And also one thing I always bring up when you talk about the NFL, the reason, because they did not have to agree to this in the CBA, right? They gave the NFLPA something in this last kind of bargaining agreement, but they did not have to agree to this. One of the reasons they agreed to this is because this is a beneficial thing for the NFL, where the NFL was kind of tired of getting the bad press of being the only person in charge of who gets suspended, right? Roger Goodell has been criticized for almost every suspension that has come out since the Ray Rice incident, since Pac-Man Jones, right? When they first put in this rule with the exempt list. So now that they can have some kind of separation of it, they can kind of put their hands up if a suspension doesn't please the general public or some parts of the general public, where they can say, hey, look, we brought in an arbitrator. She's a judge. This is what she decided that she felt like was fair. We're going to abide by that. So they have some distance from whatever the suspension is. So it's not all on their hands. So I expect them to follow this process and to follow this arbitration process just because it benefits them too, to not make it seem like they have all of the control over this situation, because when you have all the control, you're going to take all the blame if people don't feel like it's fair.